Pakistan used killer drones and rockets to strike separatist Baluch militants inside Iran on Thursday, Pakistani authorities said, retaliating 2 days after Tehran said it attacked the bases of another group within Pakistani territory. This eyewitness video, verified by Reuters, shows the aftermath of Thursday's strike in a village near Saravan, close to Iran's border with Pakistan. Iranian media said several missiles killed at least 9 people, including 4 children. The neighbours have had rocky ties in the past, but these strikes are the highest-profile cross-border intrusions in recent years. They add to growing concerns about instability in the Middle East, since the Gaza War between Israel and Hamas erupted on October 7th. Mumtaz Zahra Baluch, spokesperson for Pakistan's foreign ministry, said a number of what she called terrorists were killed.
This morning's action was taken in light of credible intelligence of impending large-scale terrorist activities against Pakistan by these terrorists. Iran is a brotherly country, and the people of Pakistan have great respect and affection for the people of Iran.
Other official statements stressed Iran's sovereignty, showing a desire to keep the spat contained, analysts say. But there are fears it could get out of hand. A senior Pakistan security official told Reuters the military would meet any misadventure from the Iranian side forcefully. Tehran strongly condemned the strikes, saying civilians were killed, and summoned Pakistan's chargé d'affaires for an explanation. Interior Minister Ahmad Fahidi said those killed were non-Iranian citizens. A Pakistani military statement said the targets were bases used by the Baluch Liberation Front, which is waging an armed insurgency against the Pakistani state and the associated Baluch Liberation Army. Iran said on Tuesday it had hit targets inside Pakistan that it alleged were bases of Jaish-al-ADL. That's another ethnically Baluch group, but with Sunni Islamist leanings that mostly Shiite Iran sees as a threat. Islamabad recalled its ambassador from Iran in protest against a blatant breach of its sovereignty. Iran had been flexing its muscles in the region even before its cross-border incursion into Pakistan. It launched strikes on Syria against what Tehran said were Islamic State sites, and Iraq, where it said it had struck an Israeli espionage centre. But until the latest exchange, the neighbours had appeared to be improving ties.
شکر الله بگو در منطقه نخوانجره بل شکر الله
Well, there's been long-standing frictions along the border of Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. In fact, this has been an area of drug smuggling, of extremist activity that has long been a point of contention for each of the governments and the various militant groups that are operational around the region. It has at times brought various governments into very close to direct conflict. We have never seen anything escalate to the point of, a conventional military exchange. And in this latest series of attacks between Pakistan and Iran, I think that there was a deliberate attempt to ensure that neither military was hit on either side. The Iranians hit what they described as a militia group, as did the Pakistanis. And I think that for now keeps this to a calibrated exchange. It does, up the temperature in the region, and I think it leaves open the possibility of additional violence.
This morning, Pakistan undertook a series of highly coordinated and specifically targeted precision military strikes against terrorist hideouts in Sistan-o-Baluchistan province of Iran.
Interesting name.
سخنگوی وزارت امور خارجه حمله پاکستان به نقطه مرزی جمهوری اسلامی ایران را محکوم کرد.
دریافتی این است که 4 زن، 4 کودک، 3 زن و 2 مرد که اینها اتباع خارجی بودن در واقع در اون انفجاری که در روستایی که 3-4 کیلومتری مرز ایران هست اتفاق افتاده اینها کشته شد.
Well, I would expect that the frictions along the border with Pakistan are not likely to escalate. They will continue to create political tensions between the two governments, but both governments have other issues to deal with, and this will it would be highly unusual if this were to rise to a very significant breach or an escalation of the violence. I think the larger conflict that is consuming the Middle East is the one that is directly related to the war in Gaza and the extent to which the Islamic Republic of Iran has mobilized its allies and proxies across the region to try to demonstrate that it can continue to wield influence and power without actually getting directly involved in the violence itself. We've seen the Houthis in particular in Yemen obstructing maritime traffic through the Red Sea in a way that's going to have a very long-term impact on the global economy, and that has brought the United States directly into military action in the region, despite the Biden administration's determined efforts to try to extricate the United States from the Middle East. And so my sense is that we're going to continue to see a considerable degree of uncertainty and instability across the broader region. And Iran is playing a very significant role in all of that. Well, in both cases of Iranian ballistic missile strikes in Iraq and Syria, it has resulted in some frictions with the government, but they were also carefully undertaken to avoid any real military harm. And in fact, I think they were primarily face-saving measures that the Iranians undertook after the United States hit at Iranian proxy groups across the region, including but not limited to the Houthis. So what we're seeing really is a kind of calibrated exchange of hostilities between the United States, Iran, and various proxy groups. Thus far, I don't see any significant prospect that this is going to escalate into a direct exchange of military conflict between the United States and Iran. But the longer it goes, the more opportunities there are for miscalculation or for catastrophic success, which then brings in the possibility of a much more significant war in which Washington would be a party rather than an offshore balancer. I think what the Iranians have been doing is to try to demonstrate that they can use proxies to make the United States and Israel feel much more pressure across the region. The hope is to force the United States to pull back from its posture in the region, both its direct and ongoing support to Israel's war in Gaza, but also, of course, the long-standing American military presence in various parts of the region. With respect to Israel, what the Iranians are hoping to do is to ensure that the Israelis are not able to succeed in their war aims to eradicate Hamas in its entirety, and to in fact ensure that the Israelis don't experience an end to this conflict in a way that gives them some sense of closure, conclusion, and even a sense of victory. As long as the Israelis don't win, the Iranians will perceive that as a victory.